All right, welcome to this week's Generation 9 podcast. Your host, me, Victor Martinez, along with Edwin Mejia and Vlad Yudin. That son is still riding bike, guys.
Still riding that bicycle.
Still riding that bike. I want to know, next time I think when we start up, I think we want to know everything about what he's been up to. You know, what kind of bike he has, what routes he's taking, how many miles he's gone.
Yeah, let's figure that out.
Yeah.
Those bikes are expensive, man.
It's going to be interesting.
Those bicycles that they drive?
His
Right,
bike
I
is
mean,
probably 10K at least,
10K
minimum.
for a bike. Would you ever pay 10K for a bike? That's crazy.
Hey,
Of
you guys
course,
know-
if I
yeah.
had the money, why not?
Bodybuilder turned cyclist.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, excited to be back here, Vic, of course, for another week. We have more questions being submitted,
Yes,
but first and
what we
foremost, we want to give a shout out to Dial Moods. Dial Moods is the new energy drink that we are obviously having here today. It's an incredible energy drink. It's, if you want to dial up your mood, increase your energy, metabolism, Dial Moods is for you. They are focused on natural energy resources for your day-to-day activities, lifestyle, you name it. They have incredible flavors here. Make sure you guys check them out. And this week's winner, of course, gets their selection of Dial Moods today. And that comes to us from Metal Mook 6950.
Wow,
so the question of the day, guys, and Vic,
Let's go.
is, hey guys, 15 years natural bodybuilder. I lost 170 pounds about 12 years ago, and I'm currently training to compete. I'm currently 5'8" at 185 pounds. I have total 10% body fat, slowly losing about 5 pounds a week.
It's a lot.
With my coach. My question is related to loose skin. I have gotten rid of a lot of my loose skin over the years by slowly losing the weight and gaining muscle. Is there any way to help loose skin that you know besides surgery? I'm looking at getting surgery to remove my lower belly skin, because it covers my lower abs and even when I'm shredded. Thanks, guys. Keep up the great work. Bodybuilding podcast out there.
It's a good question.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I'm just more concerned that, he did lose, 170 pounds. That's
So
and again, he did it
he was
along the
big
span
before.
of 15 years, he said, which is
Is that what he
fine.
said? He lost it in 15 years, that weight?
Yes, 15-year natural bodybuilder that lost 170 pounds in about 12 years.
In 12 years. So on the pace he lost at 170 is pretty good. I'm more concerned about his 5 pounds a week that he's losing.
He wants to compete in a show.
Yeah, but that's 5 pounds a week is
a lot.
too fast, too hard, too fast, and that's
Which could be bringing down his muscle.
and that's gonna, you're losing a lot of muscle, so therefore
Right.
losing that much muscle, you're gonna have more loose skin. And that's why usually the rule of thumb we used to have is try to lose 1 pound to 2 pounds a week leading up to the show. That way you don't have that problem. So if you are losing the muscle or the fat, you don't want to lose too much muscle because the muscle ultimately is what pushes out the skin. Ideally, when you do a crash diet and you do lose that muscle, most people do resort to surgery. Unfortunately, the skin does not fold onto you as you wish it could. But that's why I think losing it slowly is a little bit safer way. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you, hey, use cocoa butter, use preparation H, and that sort, because again, you lost a lot of weight.
If he's going to compete, though, he can't compete with that loose skin, right?
I mean, I've seen people, they have done it. Again, it doesn't look, too appealing, but again, you have to, I don't think there's much carbs you can gain to actually make yourself look fuller, to do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the best thing you can do is try to lose the muscle, lose the fat slowly, try to keep as much muscle or build, more muscle in order to fill that space. But then again,
that's a lot of probably space.
That's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of space. I'm not going to tell you anything crazy. You are natural, do the surgery and, let us know how you did. I can't give you a remedy on this because the loose skin, again, you're losing 5 pounds a week. I'd rather you look into that, on that diet because you can't afford to lose muscle as you're losing the fat. you know.
That makes
So
sense.
having, you know, a higher carb, I don't know your situation. How do you gain all that weight before? You know, I hope you don't start binging or do such a crash diet that it's going to create even a greater rebound and therefore, you know, destroying that whole, you know, 175 pound that you lost over the years. You know, I mean, it's just loose skin, man.
Just can't do
Loose
nothing
skin.
about
Once
it,
you
right?
have it, what's his age?
Doesn't say the age.
Age could be a factor. If you're younger, usually you wouldn't have that issue. But
He's currently, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Vic. He's currently 5'8", 185 pounds, around 10% body fat. So he's in
yeah,
good
it's
shape.
pretty. Yeah, you're in good shape.
I mean,
you
he's
know.
been competing for 15
I mean, as far as
years.
your BMI goes,
Or
you're pretty good
natural,
shape.
natural bodybuilder 5 years, 15 years. So he must be at least in his 30s, I'm assuming. I
Has
don't
to
know.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Hoping in your 30s. I mean, again, that's a little bit better to deal with now than later. As you get older and you do have that loose skin, it's much harder to fill out. You know, so building up more muscle is the only way to get rid of at least some of that loose skin. But if you did a crash diet, a fast diet, a lap band or anything like that, that's usually what leads to that, you know. And 5 pounds a week, slow down. I think your nutrition has to change so you won't have any more loose skin on top of what you already have, you know. But I'm not gonna give you no bullshit here and tell you there's a remedy or lotion or anything that's gonna get your loose skin.
No fake advice here.
Yeah, it's just not gonna be a quick fix. I mean, for slightly loose skin, again, not hanging off you, Preparation H would help sometimes, but
Preparation H?
yeah, it's just, you know, it's used for, you know, having hemorrhoids.
Right.
And it could, you know, a lot of the tissue that occurs.
It tightens it, right?
Yeah, it will tighten that area. And again, it's very minimal. It's not like the savior of loose skin, but it does help when it's slightly loose skin, but not to the amount.
Not the one that's covering your abs. I mean,
Yeah, not the one that's covering your abs. I mean, it's just you have that excess loose skin. I mean, when your body gains all that weight, it stretches out your skin, and then you do a crash diet and you lose it too fast. That's the result. And I mean, other than surgery, which I'm not gonna hate you for doing it, again, I just hope you don't gain that excess weight back. You know.
There you go. What's the gentleman's name again?
So this week's winner is Metal Mook 6950. You're this week's winner. You win your choice of Dialed Moods energy drink, your flavor, and keep tuning in for your.
Send us your email, and we'll send you a sample pack of.
Yeah, send a picture, you know. We won't share it.
Yeah,
I
too.
like to see it just to, you know, hopefully give you some better feedback on it. And
It's a good idea, guys. Submit your pictures, right?
yeah.
In
I
the
think if you
comments.
submit your picture, I could give
Yeah.
a better scope instead of just
Exactly.
trying to guess off the top of my head and visualize how you look by guessing. So if you submit a picture, hey, you're gonna get better advice too.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and you get a chance to win a Dialed Moods energy drink, which obviously it's unlike any of the other energy drinks out there that give you those jitters. These don't give you these jitters. So
If you guys want to submit pictures in the comments or info@generationr.com, and Vic will analyze it.
You know,
There you
and
go.
again, I like that though. No jitters on this thing, you know.
No jitters.
I
No
hate the
jitters.
jitters, man.
Vic, so let's talk. Today we're going to talk about like bodybuilding and a lot of the healing process, right? And just beating up your body over the years. In your experience as a pro bodybuilder, obviously, right? From the moment you start becoming a pro to where you are about to retire, like, is the body get better with age as you train hard, or does it deteriorate? And what's the sort of like that you know what I mean, that point where you start deteriorating?
Yeah, it's that balance. You know, when you
Right.
start working out, you have more energy. You're younger. You could do more. I mean, you could lift more, build, you know, better muscles. Obviously, you know, you get less sick, or when you get sick, you recover faster. It's a lot of, you know, positive factors, and the wear and tear does happen over the years, and that's due to injuries. You know, injuries, over dieting, crash dieting, over cardio, you know, your immune system drops. So the wear and tear does occur, you know. One of the things that also does happen is you try to keep doing the same thing you did in your 20s and 30s well into your 50s. You know, and once you get injured, as you get older, it becomes harder to recover, you know. Those years of squatting is great, you know. Years of squatting, you know, 315, 405, 500, it catches up to you by way of micro tears, micro injuries, you know, your back, your hips. I'm gonna tell you, man, your hips, you're gonna start feeling them. I have a lot of friends in their 40s and they're like, man, one thing I didn't expect is to start having these hip problems. And it start happening because of squat. You still wanna squat, you still wanna feel, you know, those lifts you did when you were younger, and they're gonna come back to haunt you.
But does the body develop better, like every year you become a better bodybuilder?
You do get better. The wear and tear only happens because the heavy lifting and the what you go through in those 3-4 months of prep. That's when most of the damage does happen. That's why as you get older, the recovery starts getting longer and longer and longer. So, I mean, there's ways of doing it, and it's just basically not trying to kill yourself, not trying to lift heavier weights because of the joints.
In your opinion, like what year of your competitive career did you feel like you reached your prime? And when does the prime actually happen? Like in your case?
Oh, man, I'd say prime well into your 30s, man, mid-30s. You start reaching that prime. And
so it takes a while to get to the prime.
Yeah, because again, when you're younger, you get injured, you recover so fast, you won't even feel it, you know. Eventually, that small injury you get in your 20s, you keep exciting your body by training crazy, it's gonna start showing its effect later on. So that's why you have to pace yourself, you know. When do you know? Usually when you're getting, you know, too old, your injury starts being more pronounced. You know, when you squat, now you're feeling it each time with your knees, you know. When you squat, now you're feeling it on your back, you know. You don't squat as much. You start doing leg press,
right?
You know, but it starts catching up, you know, on the lats, on your back movements, you know. You start feeling your torn bicep, you know, torn pec. It starts catching up. So
basically, once you reach your prime, then it's downhill from there, right?
Once you reach your prime, eventually your muscles start saying, hey, man, no more, you know, no more. And now if you're a smart trainer, you'll know what exercises, you know, you can go all out, what exercises you can pull out, you know, deadlifts, you know. I don't want to see you deadlifting well into your 50s, you know. It's one of those things. You want to deadlift lighter, you know, go through the motions. But your body usually starts telling you, you know, when you're not getting those pumps so easily, when you really have to push yourself just to get, you know, your body to recover. So your body starts, that whole thing on many articles that you guys read and listen to your body, it really starts speaking to you as you start prepping, you know, because now you're doing cardio that with 30 minutes in your 20s and 30s, and you're doing it in your 40s and 50s, you're like, wow, I'm feeling that cardio. That's your body kind of speaking to you. You know, it happens in every sport, not just bodybuilding.
Oh, definitely.
You look at baseball, football, you know.
But I feel like in other sports, like the prime comes in much faster. In bodybuilding, it takes time to reach your prime.
Yes, it takes time because you get muscle maturity.
Right, that's what I'm saying, muscle maturity.
Yeah, you start getting that muscle maturity, your muscles start looking nicer into your 30s, and it's like, wow, you know, you're evolving. It's great, you know. But in every sport, every age, I think the only sport where you can really push it to well into your 60s and 70s is golf.
So it takes years to reach your prime in bodybuilding,
yes,
and then years to decline into retirement. Right?
Takes years to ripen your body and getting finer.
What do you explain? How do you explain the guys like Dexter Jackson who competed for so many years? I mean,
Dexter found his right formula. He found his right formula.
He adjusted it, right, from what I understand.
He adjusted it. He realized he didn't have to kill himself in cardio.
Yeah.
As he got older.
Or maybe he was just genetically extremely gifted.
No, Dexter's just one of a kind, man.
Yeah.
Dexter's one of a kind. He found his formula. Yes. He didn't have to do that much cardio. He worked out 4 or 5 days a week max, and he was always top 5.
Did you ever work out with him?
Dexter, I didn't have the privilege. I did do a couple of photo shoots with him, and it was great. You know, the photo shoots were like workouts, so I can say yes and no.
I believe he was one of the few pro bodybuilders that preached that machines give you similar result, and he was say it's a safer choice to work out. Have you heard him say that? I think I've heard.
I think some machines can give you similar results, but I always tend to always tell the younger generation that if you are starting to work out, I would not recommend machines.
Right, you got to build up to that.
Yeah, eventually I know Dexter, he can say machines give you similar results, but he did and start out by doing the free weights, and that's how he created his base.
I think that's what he meant, once you reach the base.
Yeah. But a lot of kids now, they're just a little lazier, you know, they are doing more, you know, machines. I think the only thing they like doing more of is the deadlifting and just, but, you know, a lot of them are lifting, but a whole lot more are not competing, you know. And it's crazy because I go to the gym now and I could tell a kid's age by the exercises they're doing.
Really?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow.
It's nuts. By a single exercise or a single stretch, I can say, hey, this person is under 25.
Wow.
You know?
More energy?
No, it's just the way they train and the way they want to look focused and they want to look like they're really dark training and really on top of the game. Yeah, they feel like they're just going in some Rocky mode to the gym and it's just all for show.
You said before the show that we filmed today that the first show you did off just doing pull-ups.
Yeah, pull-ups and push-ups. I couldn't afford gym membership. Well, most gyms, you know, won't let you in unless you were 18, you know. But thank you, Bally's, you know, no longer there. They let me sneak in to the gym half the time, you know, and it was, those were the good gyms. And Elmo Santiago gym, he didn't follow no rules, man. You had the money, you were good enough to be a member.
It's so funny because Kai Green did his first show when he was locked up upstate in a correctional facility when he was still a teenager. In a documentary that we did about him, actually, he was doing push-ups, pull-ups.
So he was locked up, and at that time, they allow weights in the gym.
Do you think, in your opinion, PEDs help the body add to wear and tear in bodybuilding? Like your body, like kind of like gets messed up faster, or do you think it helps actually to preserve the body?
Yes and no. Yes, if you're training precise, you're using enough, you are getting better. Remember, a lot of the steroids were created for, you know, recovery. And one of the things is a bodybuilder, a pro bodybuilder will get injured. Most of the time, they will not speak about it.
They hide it, right?
You know, they'll hide it. And you'll wonder, why isn't he competing now? This is, you know, either he got injured, he used too much juice, lost an organ or something, you know?
Right.
It's just one of those things, but usually you won't hear about it until it's like, you know,
Kai Green never got injured, I think, in his career. I've never heard of Kai Green in injury.
I mean,
have you heard
again, like I said, you know, it's
unless he
was
hit it,
Kai
of course.
Green injured? I mean, probably he was.
Like a serious injury I'm talking about.
But serious, I don't think Kai can injure anything. Look at the freaking size of his freaking bones and muscle. I don't know.
Have you ever met a bodybuilder who you thought had a promising career, like a pro, and then an injury took him out forever?
Oh, man.
Anybody that we would know?
Yeah, I have a few. I mean, the biggest one I remember was Jean-Pierre Fuchs, and he tore both his quads.
Was a pro,
but he was good. But I don't know if he was a highly rated pro, you know, because he wasn't put together well.
If Dorian Yates would not tear his bicep the last year of his career, he would continue competing?
No, because he had too many great guys following behind him that were really, you know, they were just too good. They were just too good, better shape.
He felt.
I mean, come on. He won in Olympia with a torn bicep. Who does that?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
You know, actually, you know, Chris Bumstead does. so very few bodybuilders have won, you know, with a torn, you know, body part. But Dorian Yates at the time was so superior, but also kind of like, you know, I won this year. I look great, but now you're looking at, you know, who's behind you, who's placing second, third, and fourth, and is very close. These guys can, you know, beat you. And in his case, it was Ronnie Coleman was right behind him.
Right behind, he felt it.
You know,
Flex Wheeler. Flex Wheeler, yeah.
You know, Kevin Levrone, you know, people will argue, could it be in Dorian a couple of times? You know, so, I mean, I think that's the time to leave. Leave at the top instead of getting crushed out from the top. You know,
sometimes the competitiveness, right? It makes you want to get another one.
But man, there's a lot of good guys over the years, man. You have, you know, Aaron Baker. He was great. You know, unfortunately, he switched organization. You know, going back further, Danny Padilla. You know,
Milos was also right.
Milos was coming up great. Milos was condition king. You know, and he was well balanced. You know, because he had the arms, he had the legs. So you had so many guys, and you just did a film of one of the most, you know, what is it, Robbie Robinson?
Yeah, 78 years old. Make sure you guys check out the Black Prince.
Old, but he was great at his time. I don't think he got the right, you know, placement sometimes, you know.
That's what he complains about a lot. You know?
Yeah. I mean, his physique.
You don't need to complain because there's guys like me that watch the shows and guys in his times that watched it and can speak for him and say yes.
You know, Robbie Robinson actually influenced Dorian Yates a lot.
Yeah, man.
Dorian Yates really followed Robbie Robinson's career.
Dorian Yates was just, you know, next level as far as, you know, not just the way he trained, how focused he was.
Right.
You know, how focused he was, and also, you know, he changed the misconception of, you know, you can't, going low carb is not the best way to come in shape. He was a high carb eater.
And also a HIIT training, right? That was his method.
Yeah, just hard. You know, he implemented, you know, the Mike Mentzer heavy duty with his own little twist to it. And, you know, which that's why the injuries would happen, you know.
Can you explain HIIT, for example, so people understand? Like, if it's when you go like fast but super like heavy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Fast, heavy, intense.
And a short workout.
Yeah, intense and hard. It can work, but for somebody's, like, I couldn't do it.
You tried?
No, I couldn't do it, man. I tried to do it when I tried to train with Branch Warren once, you know, because
he does.
Branch grabs the weights and he just manhandles it, kills it, and I'm like, yeah, let me do that. And I tried to do it. I almost felt my freaking rotator cuff come out and
damn.
I was like, no, I'm more control and just kind of bring it down.
Right.
Because he has thicker, stronger joints. You know, it's a big difference. So each person, as long as they know what they can and cannot do, I think it's just, I mean, when Ronnie was winning and everybody wanted to train like unbelievable, and they try to do that, more injuries happen because
not for everybody, right?
No, it's not for everybody. So as long as everybody stays in their lane, preserves their body, say, you know what, I'm gonna try this, but I know this is not for me. They should just be true to themselves. And I think they could get to where they need to be.
Vic, what do you think, and that's some of the questions actually we received via email, who do you think is one of the most underrated bodybuilders, pro bodybuilders of all time? It doesn't mean somebody who didn't win the Olympia underrated, but somebody who maybe just didn't get the respect they deserved, who was a great bodybuilder.
Yeah, you had the Freddie Ortiz, you know.
A pro, right?
Yeah, I think Freddie Ortiz was a pro. Jack Gorilla, Paul Grant.
Poor Grant.
You know, again, you millennials, you're going to be like, who the hell is that? Was that when, you know, Caesar was a Roman emperor? No.
So far, I haven't heard those three you mentioned. I haven't heard of them.
I know. There's a few of them, you know. John Brown, you know. Colbert, the guy with the freaking big arms. Just, you know, people love them. Then you had Ronnie Coleman, but he was
he's not
natural.
overrated. Huh?
The natural Ronnie Coleman.
The natural Ronnie?
Yeah, we have a natural Ron Coleman. You guys don't know him, you know. Most
Who's
people
that?
don't know him. Just look up for all you millennials out there who say, oh, bodybuilders can only be big by juicing. Ron Coleman, the reason I knew him was because I got a job with Twin Lab at the time. He was working with Twin Lab. And I used to see him compete, man.
It's a different Ronnie Coleman you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
Okay, I got to look that up. Ron Coleman.
He liked to be called Ron Coleman, you know.
Wow.
So, well, Ronnie was Ronnie Coleman, you know.
Wow. Ron Coleman.
Yeah, so
The natural Ron Coleman.
And Danny Padilla, bro.
Didn't they call him the Giant Killer?
Giant Killer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not Sean Clarita, another Giant
No,
Killer.
the original Giant Killer.
Yes.
Yes, that's him. But again, these are just my archive guys that I basically get videos or any pictures of them, and I send it to the younger generation that are doing classic physique. I always tend to like, look at this guy, look at his posing. And I always have to go way back because that's where the category is here.
Do you guys think in some ways Lee Haney is a bit underrated? And I know he's obviously 8-time Mr. Olympia. I get people are gonna think I'm crazy, but I feel like when Ronnie Coleman came in after him and won 8, he kind of got the spotlight a little bit, you know what I mean? To where like he became the king, and when people consider 8-time Mr. Olympia, they think more of Ronnie Coleman than
They
Lee Haney.
think of Ronnie because Ronnie came up at the time of obviously computers, you know, magazines. He was dominating the magazines, and right now social media, you know. But Lee Haney definitely needed more love. I mean, you gotta
That's what I
remember,
mean. He's kind of a little underrated, right?
Yeah. I think so, and I think there was a little love shown to him. You know,
Kevin
because
Levrone is also kind of underrated too in many ways.
He can be a candidate.
Kevin
for
Levrone
underrated.
got his love, man. Kevin Levrone got his love. He's got a supplement company now. You still see him being relevant this day and age. But Lee Haney had, you know, Totally Fit and ESPN.
That was a cool show. Did you used to watch
Yeah,
it?
man. Of course I watched it, man. I was like the best thing I used to see on Saturday morning after the cartoons and the Chinese, you know, drive-in movies. Those are the best things. Saturday TV was the best thing, and it was just shown right in the morning with Corey Everson's TV show. You know, she always had the cool outfits.
She was great, yeah.
And she was just great. She was great to watch on TV. And
Was Linda Murray ever on that show?
Linda Murray did show up, I believe, once.
I met her finally. Ed and I met her in Arizona.
Yeah, and I think Rick Valente, had his show too. Rick Valente was
He was
another
actually
guy.
appeared in Robbie Robinson documentary. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of great bodybuilders over the years. Some of them were just had that gift.
Rick's kind of underrated too.
Yeah, Rick. One guy, I'll tell you right now, there's one guy that I saw, he's our very own from Jersey, Frank Santoriello.
Never heard of him.
Yes.
I got to look him up.
And again, all those names that I threw here, again, this is when
We got to really put that up to give him some.
Yeah, Frank Santoriello, man. It's just going back.
Do you think Jack LaLanne was a bodybuilder?
Jack LaLanne was just fit, man. Jack LaLanne was introducing health and fitness when most people didn't really care about health and fitness.
Yeah. That's who inspired Robbie Robinson, actually.
Yeah, so Jack LaLanne has a special place in my heart because he was just fantastic at what he did.
Very positive guy, right?
Yeah, I think his gym business should have been greater. I think he
had a gym chain?
Yeah, he had the gym chain, but I think the people that were running his gym chain, they weren't as visionary as he was. So I think we should have still had Jack LaLanne gyms to this day and age. Yeah. You know, rest in peace, the man in fitness, man, because this guy, man, he was just ahead of his time, man. The way he spoke fitness, you go back to see his videos in the 60s and 70s, the way he spoke about health and fitness must have been like Chinese for most people. Like, what is he talking about?
To some people, it actually changed their lives, right?
Yeah, they didn't understand it, you know? I mean...
Definitely.
Yeah, it was just at a time where he was just ahead of his time. That's what I believe.
And Eric the trainer kind of inherited that, and he wanted to spread that. And unfortunately, Eric the trainer is no longer with us, rest in peace. But there's some people that come once in a while and they kind of have that spirit, you know?
Yeah. But that being said, Jack LaLanne was definitely one of the most underrated health and fitness gurus of his time, man.
Nice.
Yes.
And this brand lives on today.
Yes, and like I said, we should have still been training Jack LaLanne gyms to this day before Bally bought it out and drove it down to the ground.
Is that what happened? Oh, man.
I mean, that's what I'm guessing it happened, but it sounds pretty good, though.
All right. Well.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us in this week's podcast. Please remember, follow us, like, comment, Send pictures for your questions to go along with your questions, and you'll get better answers, all right? And if you want to see any of the prior podcasts, please tune into iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you stream your podcasts, all right? Till next time.
Hey, yo, listen up, man. Milk is for baby. Beef build muscle. You hear me? Yeah, I said it. Beef build muscle. California, baby. RTDs, baby. On the go. Let's get it. Milk is for babies. Beef it up with carnivore RTDs. 40 grams of protein, 0 fat, 0 sugar, 0 lactose. Get yours today.